So, Kate, how can a college athlete break into the world of NIL?
So it's actually pretty easy because you can do it at any level, whether you're NCAA, D1, D2, D3, NAIA, it's attainable for everyone. And the way that you can do it is really just, reaching out, build up your social media presence. That's a huge part of it because social media is where so many of these deals are happening already. And so first things first, build up your social media presence, build up your personal brand, start talking about, what's interesting to you, what your hobbies are, whatever your favorite stores and restaurants and stuff to visit, go there, tag them. You never know. And then you could always reach out and use that later on and be like, hey, I tagged your restaurant. This is how many views I got. This is how many followers I have. This is my engagement. And the more you do that, the easier it is because you're showing them something already that's like could bring them a new audience, any of those potential sponsors. So really, it's just all about building up your own personal brand, be confident in yourself, and reach out. That's 90% of what I've seen has been just people reaching out on social media to brands or people they like that have whatever product they have, or other restaurants, stores in the area. I've seen multiple stores have deals with NIL athletes that they've reached out through social media, just being like, hey, I love your store. I'd love to do an NIL deal with you. It's really that easy.
That's awesome. And it's empowering. You can take it into your own hands. So, obviously, every state, every school, every athletic association is different. This video isn't legal advice, etc. But by and large, are you saying it's okay for an athlete to reach out directly to businesses and kind of do that hustle themselves?
For the most part, yes. What you have to realize is that different states and different universities have different policies about it. There are some prohibited items that you can't endorse. Usually that's, alcohol, tobacco, firearms, those kind of products. That differs a bit state by state. And then you also, most schools don't allow you to enter into a contract that would conflict with one of their university contracts. So sometimes universities have extra prohibited items, or like if they're an Adidas school, they may have an issue if you're trying to do like a Nike shoe deal. So you kind of have to keep in mind those things. What I would recommend is talk to your university compliance department. They are the go-tos for that. They know all that information. They will be able to help you. Also, most states and schools also have policies on when and how to disclose, because you likely will have to disclose your NIL activity. So I always recommend, reaching out to compliance before you reach out to someone just to make sure that it's okay. But usually just keeping that open communication with your university compliance department is the best way to go about it.
Okay, great. So let's say you are in a situation where you've reached out to a local business like a restaurant or something, and they want to pay you, the athlete, to make an appearance and do some social media posts about their spot. What happens next? How does that deal actually get done?
So, like I said before, a lot of those deals are actually done over social media in the DMs. It'll be, hey, we want you to come to the restaurant and post about it X many times, and we'll give you this amount either per post or here's a flat fee. So, really, that's how a lot of the deals are done, which is not the safest bet for, athletes or the small businesses, because there's kind of a lot of risk that one side's not going to fulfill their side of the deal. Like the athlete may not get paid, or those posts won't get made. And so that's when you kind of risk without like a written contract where people are signing of what's, who's fulfilling what. And if you're in breach and you don't fulfill your side, what happens then? So that's kind of an issue that you would face there. Not always, it's not something that we always face, but it's definitely something that's a possibility and a risk.
And how do you eliminate that risk? I mean, is that something a lawyer can help with?
That is definitely something a lawyer can help with. That's lawyers draft contracts. They are there to mitigate risk, and it can work for either side. The athlete could hire them to make sure like you're protecting the athlete. The small businesses can hire them to make sure you're protecting the small businesses. Because really, especially on like the smaller side of those deals where you have more local businesses, there's not a lot of cons to NIL. Everyone gets something out of it. They're getting publicity. Athletes get paid, which is great. But there is a little bit of risk that comes with one side not fulfilling it. And lawyers drafting those contracts can protect both parties. And that's really, it's what they're here for. They want to help you with any of your legal issues. So a lawyer can definitely help in that situation.
Right. And I think I should add that we are a mission-driven law firm here at Lyda Law Firm. So our mission is to increase access to high-quality legal services. And what that means is trying to have accessible, approachable, affordable price points that are proportionate to the amount and the size of the contract. So even if you feel like it's a relatively small deal that you're engaged in, it is a good idea to have a contract. And if you reach out to us, we will try to work with you to make sure that our price point is appropriate based on your needs and the size of the deal that you're in. Okay, so Kate, tell us a little bit about your background. You are now an attorney at Lyda Law Firm. Tell us about how you got here and your experience with sports law and NIL.
So I am a double Aggie. I went to A&M for undergrad and law school. Whoop. But during law school, I was super, super involved with our Sports and Entertainment Law Society. It's really where, I fell in love with NIL, going through a couple of different internships. I interned at the University of Arkansas Razorback Athletics, which was an absolute blast with their general counsel. So that's where I really got to be hands-on and learn more about how athletic departments work in NIL. And from there, I spent a year as the NIL director at the University of Texas at Arlington. And that is where, we really focused on educating athletes on NIL, because the biggest thing that stops people from participating in NIL, both athletes, small businesses, even just donors, is the lack of knowledge about it. And so that was really the forefront of what I wanted to do as NIL director, was just educate everyone around us. And so that is why NIL is so important to me. Love talking about it. And I also have a blog called Sports Law Girl, where I love to write about legal issues in the sports world, also some other trends and stuff. So that's been really cool. And yeah, check it out.
We'll put the link to the blog in the video description below. Okay, so athletes they need to know that they can reach out directly, that they need to build up their social media profile, and they can do that hustle themselves, but they also need to be mindful of university guidelines, university contracts and deals, and prohibited types of endorsements. Also, they need to know to try to get it in writing, try to get a contract for any deal, regardless of size of the deal. What else do athletes need to know as they venture into the world of NIL?
Be confident. Make sure that, the businesses or whoever your potential sponsor is knows why they should want to work with you, because, you have followers. People already think you are the coolest person on campus when you're an athlete, like you are an interesting person. You're unique. Figure out, what makes you stand out and flaunt that. Be confident in yourself. NIL is not just about, the financial gain. It's about developing you personally and your personal brand, and also building life skills that'll help you in the future. So really it's about, your confidence in yourself, and also make sure, or at least you keep up with your state law. Again, your compliance department will help you with that.
That is fantastic advice. This is a great opportunity for you to learn how to be a business person as a college student. So it's a wonderful opportunity that really transcends athletics. Things like knowing your analytics as an influencer, your social media analytics. Also, you're engaging in business now. So you're a business person, and that can mean things like you might want to think, if you start getting several deals and you're doing a really great job, it might be time to start thinking about setting up an LLC, a limited liability company, which can be done fairly easily and affordably, but can really help protect you and can also have tax advantages. The other thing you might need to start thinking about is trademarking. If you have a personal logo or personal brand, there are ways to protect that brand because it really is your intellectual property. And so you might want to start thinking about trademarking your logo and the name of your enterprise, because really, if you're doing a good job at this, you are becoming a business. Okay, so Kate, tell me, what are the different types of NIL activities? What are the different things that you as an athlete can be paid for doing?
There's a whole world of things that you could be doing, but usually the kind of things that we see are, social media posts. You see kind of like the sponsored product, and they talk about it in the caption of use my code, or like for a discount. Or
Mhm.
public appearances that could be in a commercial, in a print ad, or you show up somewhere and you are signing autographs, and or you get your picture taken at a restaurant. All kinds of things with that. There's also kind of entrepreneurship. This one is so cool to me because it's any college athlete that has their own small business, you can get sponsors for your business, and build that into it. And we've seen that a couple of times. I know there's been some athletes with like landscaping businesses, and they've gotten sponsors for it. It helped grow the business as well. And that one's just so cool to me because it's already, building something up that college athlete has already started. And then you also kind of see lessons in camps. A lot of college athletes will do give lessons anyways. They'll give lessons to youth in the area, and that's a really great way to, kind of start your own camp or clinic, like a baseball clinic, and have sponsors for the clinic. That's another NIL activity that you could be doing. But really, there's just so many different kinds. And, with back to social media, you could do stagnant posts that are on your feed. You could be doing story posts. Like there's just so many different ways to get involved with it. And, the best part is to just start. Just get into it, ask around, see who's interested. And there you go.
Awesome. Wonderful advice. Like I said, it's really exciting to think about the possibilities. It's a great opportunity. And Kate, thank you for talking with me about how athletes can become involved in NIL.
Thank you for having me.